Welcome to today's video, where we'll be looking at an obnoxious Karen in court who insists on representing herself while demanding that a real attorney hold her hand through the process. Before we dive in, I want to thank today's sponsor, Chapter. Many people on Medicare end up paying hundreds or even thousands of dollars more each year simply because they chose the wrong plan, often misled by brokers motivated more by commission than by helping. Chapter was created to change that, inspired by the founder's own parents who experienced the downsides of these greedy strategies. When you call Chapter, you'll speak to a real person who will carefully review all the available Medicare plans and help you find the best one for your needs. The call is completely free, and with the average senior saving over $1,000 per year, it's a great way to put money back in your pocket, especially with the holidays approaching. To get started, you can call the number on screen or click the link in the description to see if you're in the best plan or if there's room to save. Thank you again to Chapter for sponsoring this video. Now, let's begin.
Ms. Benedetto, good afternoon. You can go ahead and come forward, please. And Ms. Benedetto, I'm going to go ahead and have you have a seat right there. Please make sure the microphone is in front of you and the green light should be on. That's really important so that we can make sure that everything that we are discussing here today gets picked up.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yep, I sure can. Okay, so we are before the court for a special set 2 o'clock calendar in City of Lakewood versus Gail Ann Benedetto. 2 different cases involving Ms. Benedetto, 25L000583 and 25L004426. Both matters are before the court today for pretrial conferences. By way of procedural history, Ms. Benedetto was last before the court, let's see here, back on September 9th, 2025. At that point in time, Ms. Benedetto made a motion to the court to have her attorney of record from the Horwath law offices, and I believe, if I remember correctly, that was Ms. Arnold, although it was Ms. Capone that was present at that time with Ms. Benedetto. Ms. Benedetto made a motion to assert her constitutional right to represent herself and to proceed pro se. The court reviewed the waiver of attorney with Ms. Benedetto on the record, and the court was satisfied that Ms. Benedetto understood the potential risks that she was taking by exercising that right. Nevertheless, Ms. Benedetto maintained her request to proceed with representing herself, and the court granted her request to do so. Ms. Benedetto then, towards the end of the hearing, and that was on a regular pretrial conference calendar where a number of other matters were waiting, Ms. Benedetto made a further record that while she wanted to represent herself, she wanted to have standby counsel appointed to represent her. At that point in time, Ms. Capone, I don't know what her terminology was, but she essentially chose not to make a record, is my recollection. I could be wrong, but I believe that's accurate. Mr. Graham put the court on notice that the prosecution may very well object to, I believe what he was concerned might constitute hybrid representation under Washington law. And Ms. Benedetto, we set the matter over to today so that I can ask Ms. Arnold and Ms. Capone's supervisor, Angela Horwath, who is the lead attorney at that firm, to be present because they were previously your attorney of record and would be the court's default choice for standby counsel if the court appoints standby counsel. And I also wanted to give Mr. Graham an opportunity to further elaborate on any concerns he had as the prosecutor. Again, the reason I didn't do that at the last hearing were time constraints. The issue that was scheduled to be addressed by the court today was a fairly limited one. I wanted to make sure that Ms. Benedetto, after having some time and opportunity to review the waiver of attorney, was still wanting to proceed pro se and represent herself, as she previously indicated. If the answer to that question is yes, then I wanted to next ask her whether or not she is continuing to request that standby counsel be appointed. And then at that point, if she is indicating that she is, I want to give Mr. Graham and Ms. Horwath an opportunity to weigh in as well. So first things first, Ms. Benedetto, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
So Ms. Benedetto, at our last hearing, we started off kind of rocky, but by the end of the hearing, I think we were doing pretty well. I'm going to remind you that I'm going to do everything I can not to interrupt you, and I'm going to ask that you extend the same courtesy to the court as well as the attorneys, okay?
Yes, sir.
I'm also going to remind you that everything is being recorded today, so this is all on the record, if you will. So, Ms. Benedetto, your true name is Gail Ann Benedetto, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and Ms. Benedetto, you had previously indicated to the court you wanted to represent yourself. Have you had any change of heart, or is that still how you'd like to proceed?
I paused the video here because this is the first time the judge asks her if she still wants to represent herself. What's interesting is how she handles the question, or rather, how she avoids handling it. This moment is a perfect example of the master class Karen puts on in not actually answering what's being asked.
I question how we can proceed because I just feel like I think the term is fatal defects in the process, such as the 48 hours to have the procedural due process, right? Which I was basically forced to push through. So I was denied the right to question the arresting officers as to their training or what exactly did Mr. Graham, under a penalty of perjury, say that he feels he has sufficient evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that I've done these things that I'm not guilty of. And in all actuality, I was the actual victim on both of those occasions. And I would ask the court to investigate the address because I'm not the first one. I know of at least another woman before me. Her name was Stephanie. I don't remember her last name, but it's a pattern, and I don't know how deep it goes. But I just want to also put the court on notice that I've already been violated by my country to the betrayal of giving your citizens that you don't have any business arresting, putting them in a tribal jail that's 98% American is not tribal. It's money laundering or whatever you guys want to call it. It's fraud, and you just push everybody through. The fact that two different lawyers gave me the same script both times shows that that's your process and procedure, is to habitually and continuously deprive these people of their rights. And then for Nisqually to make me leave in 46 degrees raining weather on March 20th with no shoes, nothing but a small dress. I had no wallet, no phone, no nothing. I was passed out in my Jeep, completely unconscious when the police officers arrived. They didn't witness me doing anything malicious, and I did not do anything malicious. I had no malicious intent, and you will not be able to prove that beyond a reasonable doubt. So for him to lie and say that he has it, and for you to just continuously sign off. And also, I've discovered that a police officer, when he enters the charge with his badge number, automatically signs your auto signature to the warrant, so you don't have any knowledge of the warrant. That an officer is not a judge. I mean, your whole thing is just, it's not going to hold up. And I would just move to a jury. I need my peers. I'm not going to accept fines. I'm not going to accept probation. There's no way we'll come to an agreement. I need my peers to say that you guys.
So, Ms. Benedetto.
And it's been over 90 days since the malicious intent. I didn't get my 48 hours. I had 2 public pretenders. So if you continue to work with them as your go-to defenders, knowing that they're not defending then it kind of lands on you at this point.
Not really. I mean, it's not him that was charged with a crime, and he is not the one who's delusional enough to believe that his status puts him above regular citizens and that laws don't apply to him. But let me let you get back to not answering the question.
Knowing that they're not defending, then it kind of lands on you.